Hey, what's going on, guys? Brent here with CPC Bodybuilding, and today we're going to be previewing the Toronto Pro and Men's Classic Physique. I've got a special guest, an IFBB Pro and Classic Physique, and a 22 Olympian. That is Blake Course. Blake, thanks for joining. How you doing, man?
Good man, good. I'm excited to do this. I'm like white as a sheet with this window here beside me, so I look like I'm probably the perfect guy to do the highlight on the Toronto Pro.
So without further ado, guys, we'll go ahead and jump into this lineup. We'll start with show details, and I'm going to share my screen just so y'all can see here. So we've had a couple of guys join this lineup, so slightly bigger lineup than was originally announced. Now, the Toronto Pro is going to be this Sunday, June 4th in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Prejudging is going to start at 10 a.m. Eastern time, finals at 3 p.m. Eastern. If y'all are wanting to stream the show, you can find it here at CanadianPhysiqueAlliance.vhx.tv. I'll also be sure to put that link in the description and continue to promote this show on social media, which my account is CPC Bodybuilding. If y'all don't follow me, make sure you give me a follow there. But you can purchase the live stream here. So here is the lineup. And like I said, we've got a couple additions here. We'll go ahead and read through the lineup, then go through each page individually, break down these guys, and then give our top 5 picks. So starting out, we've got Edgar John Augustine out of Dubai via France. So that's Bionic Body for you guys who are a little bit more familiar with the Instagram tags. Mo Burgess.
I saw him at the gym today. He was
Oh,
training
really?
right behind me. Yeah. So a lot of these guys are obviously coming to Pure because Pure Muscle is like 45 minutes at most from the venue. Um, so there's tons of pros there right now, tons of the amateurs because the day before the amateurs will be competing. But like before you get into the lineup, I was scanning through it, and it's like it's such a Canadian show. You know, obviously it's here in Canada, so it just brings out all the guys that I know personally in that, so it makes it extra exciting for me. I will 100% be there watching it in person, but I've got a pretty good feel for the majority of the competitors on the list.
Yeah, so like Blake said, guys, very Canadian heavy lineup with the exception of a couple guys. So we got Mo Burgess out of the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California. Greg Dawson making his pro debut out of Mississauga, Ontario. Javier Duarte, who is appearing for the second time this year out of Perth Amboy, New Jersey. Ali Emre out of Turkey. Carl Gautier out of San Bruno, Quebec, Canada. Farzad Goatby out of Thornhill, Ontario. Shane McCann out of Mississauga, Ontario, making his first appearance in nearly half a decade. Tyler Okowinski out of Hamilton, Ontario. Sam Paquin out of Montreal, Quebec. Josue Isai Cortez Vargas out of Mexico, making his pro debut. And Dimitri Williams out of Fergus, Ontario. So that's your full lineup, guys. We're going to go ahead and dive in. All right, so we've got Edgar John Augustine pulled up here, aka Bionic Body. So just taking a look at his physique. This is from the New York Pro where he didn't place. He also appeared at the Pittsburgh Pro where he took 14th this year. Blake, what do you like about Edgar's physique?
He's just a massive man. Like he's extremely tall, takes up a lot of space. He's broad shouldered for sure. Looking at this, like his condition is really good. He's just kind of like a little shallow in certain areas, right? Like he has some strengths, but um, yeah, he's got strengths and weaknesses, of course.
Yeah, I think probably my favorite quality of his physique is his quads. I think he's got just very detailed quads, really like the sweeps. And then he's got a lot of width through the lats too. So
For sure.
I think he'll improve on his previous placing. I think there's only one way to go but up. Given
Yeah.
he didn't place at New York. So
Agreed.
yeah, so that is Bionic Body. Next up, we've got Mo Burgess out of LA. So Mo is making his first appearance this year, and Mo got 2 Masters Pro wins last year. So
Wow.
I saw him at Hurricane.
Yeah.
He also picked up a Masters win at San Antonio. So just looking through some of these updates, these were about a week or so out. Um, what are some strengths that you notice about Mo's physique?
He's just extremely well balanced. Like, he's got some really good body parts. That front double, his biceps are huge. That he went through. That's a nice pose too. That classic pose there for him. But I mean, all the lines are in. He's sharp. He's shorter, right? It's hard to tell sometimes.
I think he's actually a taller guy.
Really?
If I recall correctly, I mean, I don't know. He looks like he's got long legs, but
You know what's funny is like the Masters in the classic division can really surprise, right? Like,
yeah,
it's not necessarily an age thing when you don't have to be like so gargantuan. It's more like shape and kind of total package. And yeah, he's got a huge chest, really pretty good balance. I've actually never seen this guy before, but he's got definitely a good package. He could be a top 5 guy in my mind.
yeah, absolutely. He's proven he can be top 5. I know he went to, it was a bit of a weaker show last year, but he went all the way to New Zealand. And I think he took 2nd or 3rd there in that show. It was a small lineup with a lot of guys who are pretty local to either Australia or New Zealand, but he went there and got top 3. So definitely capable of a top 6. So
for sure. I agree.
Mo Burgess. Next up, we got Greg Dawson making his pro debut. So Greg turned pro at this show last year, actually won the overall. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Greg also trains at Pure, right?
Yeah, I know Greg pretty well. It was funny because he had one of those preps this time where he was just completely covered up. And I could tell, like, just when you're looking at the skin on his arms and stuff, he was getting like pretty dialed in. I was like, oh, are you competing soon? And this was last week. He's like, I'm doing Toronto. So he's been like totally under wraps about this prep, I think, up until like about a week ago. But I told Greg, like, the time he turned pro, I think he could have done really well the next day at that pro show. He wanted to take time to develop a little bit more. But Greg is definitely one to watch for me, for sure. He's got really good fullness. He's really balanced as well, great legs. I think he could definitely make some noise on Sunday for sure.
Yeah, completely agree, man. His quads are nuts and
very
sharp guy
for sure.
Crisp lines, all of it. I really like Greg's physique. So
I had like one knock on him, like, and I don't know, maybe he's corrected this. It was just like a little bit of stomach control. At one point, it's like getting those kind of deeper lines in the midsection, which he has because he comes in shape, but just being able to display a little bit better. So I think if he can nail that, man, he could definitely be a threat.
Yeah, so that is Greg Dawson, guys. Next up, we've got Javier Duarte, one guy who does not have social media. So we're going to pull up some photos from his last appearance at the New York Pro.
He's got to watch it.
It's kind of one of those
guys, man. Those are everybody's worst nightmare.
So he's a guy who, I mean, I was kind of puzzled when I look at these photos. Granted, the New York Pro is a pretty stacked lineup, but I think he's got a really solid physique, like extremely vascular when you look at these photos. And when you look at his back, that's a really solid back, in my opinion.
Great back. He's just a little soft on the lower half, right? So if he had some dug in hams on that, it'd be a ridiculous back shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Above the waist is killer. It's just if he was a little, it's funny. Some guys, like, he's so vascular and rock solid up top, but just needs a little bit more in the lower half there.
Yeah, Javier is one of those guys. I could definitely, I think, pretty much guarantee.
That's a really good shot.
Yeah,
the obliques are separated, and crazy. You're right. He's very vascular, thin skin,
very separated through the hamstrings.
You said he's
quads there. So he's out of New Jersey, actually. I'm not sure where. I think he might be. I don't want to speculate, but I think he might be Puerto Rican, but that's
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
so.
It's above my pay grade.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to know without social media too. So
Yeah, exactly. No, again, obviously, I haven't heard of him no social media, but he's got he's got a good package here for sure.
yeah. So that is Javier Duarte out of New Jersey. Next up, we've got Ali Emre, and he is probably the most veteran guy in this lineup. He last appeared at the Muscle Contest Ireland Pro a few weeks ago, where he took 7th place in a lineup that was very solid, in my opinion. There were guys who he placed ahead of who have been top 5 at pro shows. And he's been competing professionally for something like 20 years. So this guy has been through the ringer. He's competed quite a bit. And Blake, when you look at some of these shots, I know, we don't have the best shots, but when you look at his physique, what are some of the things that stand out to you?
I like this guy's look. Like you posted with the lineup, you had everybody tagged, and I was looking at Ali here, and he's got the classic shape, right? He's got the really small waist, great sweep on the quads, wide lats. The posing video he just put up looks super classic. And you can see that shot that he has with the glutes in. Like if anybody comes with those types of zipper cuts on the glutes, it's like, they're coming in correct and definitely looking for a top spot. How old is this guy? Do you know?
I think he's in his 50s, man.
Yeah, he looks fantastic. He looks very, very good. Like that shot there is great. I like this guy.
Yeah, very, very balanced and proportionate physique. Is that exactly what you want when you're, looking for those classic criteria?
And sorry, where is he coming in from?
Turkey.
Turkey. Wow, made the trip. Like,
yep.
Respect for that. Wow. No, he looks really, really good, and it's cool that he's been able to do this for so long and like keep up. This is a high level physique right here he's showing.
So that's Ali Emre out of Turkey. Next up, we've got Carl Gautier. Could be saying that wrong. Sorry, Carl, if you're watching. But he's actually making his pro debut as well. So he turned pro at the CPA Nationals in 2022. You can see right here.
Yeah, I've got a good story. I'm going to jump in quick. Carl did the show the year before the Nationals. I won my pro card at that show. And he was like sort of like me. Like we had done a lot of pro qualifiers, kind of get into that position. And he had to do the show the night before to re-qualify for Canadian Nationals. And I was like spray tan in my bed watching like the show from the night before to see if like there's anybody, that was going to be good coming up and doing it. I see this guy and I'm like, oh no, like this guy looks really, really good, So when he ended up competing against me the next day, him and I both won our classes, and he was, what I think anyway, the second or the runner up. And then he went on to win it the next year. Super nice guy. He's got an interesting physique as well that translating at the pro level, I think will be really good, because his biggest issue was making weight. So he used to have to suck down like crazy. Now he gets the extra 10 pounds. You can see here, like he's crazy wide. Like clavically, he is just so wide. He takes up a ton of space, and he is an incredibly confident poser. Like I don't even know if these won't do him justice, but like he's one type of guy that like he goes on stage and comes alive kind of thing. So he has some holes, I think, in his physique, but he's another one for me absolutely to watch out for on Sunday. I really like Carl's physique and the way he displays it.
Yeah, I think he's got a tremendous physique. The detail in the quads, the width, like you said, man, the width through the lats, the broad shoulders, the top line, it's all there.
Yeah, he's really strong for sure.
So that is Carl Gautier. Next up, we've got Farzad Gotbi, who actually turned pro at the 2022 Toronto Pro Qualifier. Same show as Greg. And he last appeared at the 2022 Tri-City Masters Pro, took second place in the 40 plus division. And looking at some of these photos, I really like this side chest. If we can get in on this, this is the shot I think is probably his best shot, at least out of the ones that are here. And
Yeah.
coming in very sharp. I think he's got great detail to his physique, especially for a guy who's over 40. Try to look at some other shots here.
It'll be fun to watch, like, because there's a few good masters doing it, like who comes out kind of on top for those guys too, right? It'll be like these guys are all, like, so far all showing really good condition in these shots. So I've seen this guy before. Yeah, he's hard as nails and super thin skin. I think yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, the side try is pretty solid as well. So that is Farzad Gothbi. Next up, we've got Shane McCann, and this is probably the biggest wild card in the show, in my opinion. A guy who hasn't competed in 4 years. His last appearance was at the 2019 Niagara Pro, where he took 10th place.
Yeah.
Just looking at this photo, I know the condition isn't quite there. Probably, I mean, this is like a 7-8 weeks out type of look right here, but I noticed great structure. I think he's got, fantastic structure for a classic.
Yeah, like for me, like, so Shane's another guy that trains up here. Really, really nice guy as well. And he's been doing this for a long time. He used to do men's physique, I believe that's how he turned pro. And I'm not 100% on this, but I think he's competed as a men's physique pro before. What I'm looking at right here is just, to me, how I see this is somebody that's developed a lot of tissue on their legs very quickly. And then the new tissue is always going to be harder to get that really crisp, detailed, deep lines. Because he's taken a 4-year hiatus, like, he could have those lines a lot more established for this show. I haven't had a chance to see him like pose or anything, but I see him walking around all the time, and he looks like he's in good shape. So I'm excited to see him as well. But again, he like you said, he's a wild card. I don't really know anything to expect out of Shane.
Yeah, so that is Shane McCann.
Great.
Next up, we got Tyler Okowinski, who last appeared at the New York Pro. Now, Tyler did not place, but I think so that was also his pro debut in New York. I think this is a guy who has a lot of upside with his physique. Blake, when you look at some of these photos, what stands out to you about Tyler's physique?
Tyler's another guy I know really well too. And Tyler, again, I love this dude. He's a great guy, and he's like super, super committed to the sport. He was always a super heavy, so he transitioned from bodybuilding to classic. And it was the right move for him, obviously, earning his pro card and competing here. I know for this show in particular, he had a pretty much next to impossible time making weight. I'm actually shocked he was able to get on stage, because he's one of those guys that, like, peak week, he's still 15 pounds overweight. So I was talking to him before this one. I think that he's a lot closer to the cutoff coming to Toronto, so it's a lot less stress for him to kind of make that weight. With that said, like, he's got a really, really good structure. He's a taller guy. He's got a really deep vacuum. You can see here his quads are crazy separated. He's always coming in shape. I'd like to see him like with 100% Tyler package, because this again, like, is one of those ones where he had to suck himself down like to nothing and then try and load, right? So it's like, this is not the best version of him that we're looking at here. If he nails it, sky's the limit for him too, but it's yet to be seen, kind of thing.
Yeah, he's got the structure. I think you nailed it on the head. If his condition is even 5-10% better, he's going to be definitely a threat in this line.
And that's almost a matter of fullness, right? Because when you've taken like everything off of the body so quickly, like, you flatten out to a crazy point where you almost don't look conditioned anymore, right? So it's going to be the peak for Tyler. It's going to make or break him. But I'm pulling for him. I'm hoping that he nails it.
So that is Tyler Okowinski. And next up, if my Instagram would like to load, we've got the heavy favorite going into this show, Sam Pekin out of Montreal. And Sam made his pro debut last year at Hurricane, where he took 4th place in a lineup that had multiple Olympians. So Sam is one of those guys who I think structure is what he really excels with. That's probably his strongest point. Blake, what are some of the shots you like from Sam?
First of all, his weakest point is his coach, Julian Jeffrion. He's a terrible. I love Julian. Julian and I are really good friends. Julian, since working with Sam, like the strides that these two have made, like Julian likes to send me pictures 15 times a day of Sam's updates. So it's like, this is Sam after meal one. This is Sam after a cup of coffee. This is Sam at the mall with his mom on a Thursday. I'm like, all right, dude, like I've seen enough of Sam. He looks amazing. Like his structure is next level. Like this doesn't even look real. Those front shots, it's like, I don't know if you go to like a classic physique, like, you know, book, this is what you see, right? This is what you envision as like tiny ways, crazy sweep on the quads, with that kind of taper. It's really nice. It's funny because like someone I saw comment, they were like, does he have tears in his quads? It's like, no, those are just excellent lines. Those are just crazy. So like you see how deep that line is all the way up to his hip. With the new classic trunks, or not new anymore, but how high they can go. I hope he has like the really thin ones on, man, because that's just freaky how it digs in that high. To be like a real nitpicker, when he turns around, it doesn't match for me how wow factor his front side is, but the way that he can place like that ab and thigh, the front double, and then the classic pose, it's the reason why he is the heavy favorite.
Yeah.
He looks, these pictures are incredible.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to see it in person.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And these are progress photos from just a few days out of his pro debut last year, which was about 7-8 months ago. And comparing that to this week before the Toronto Pro, he looks bigger in the quads, the lats, the shoulders. I mean, he just looks bigger and fuller, which is with the same condition, and that's very dangerous.
Yeah, of course. He's another guy that was natural for the longest time. I think he only started using PEDs when he went pro. So like this is literally like year 2, and that's why you're seeing these like massive improvements from one year to the next. But obviously with hard work too, no doubt. But everything about his physique has gotten better, from the posing to the condition to the size. Again, if we're going to compare him like at the top level of guys, he's just got to bring up a little bit like thickness front to back. And honestly, he has like the potential to be like a top guy in the world, not a top guy at the Toronto Pro, in my opinion. But yeah, he's still going to be the third best Canadian. I'm going to take him out when I compete against him.
So that's Sam Peking, guys. And lastly, we've got Josue Cortez Vargas. So he is making his pro debut as well. So pull up a side try. So this was where he turned pro, the 2022 NPC Worldwide Mexican Super Show Pro Qualifier. That's a mouthful. But he turned pro in Class C, so he's a taller guy. The show only had 3 classes, so he was the tallest height class there. I really like his lines. I think he's got superb lines. Very dialed in with the condition here as well. Could probably be hitting down on the glute harder to see those striations, but I'm sure they're there just based on how hard he looks in the hamstrings as well as the calves and the quads.
Yeah, it's so hard when you like stage pictures to Instagram, right? Like that actually is such a crazy shot considering it's like on stage, you know, like people are obviously going to take 50 pictures in the gym and pick their favorite one, right? But this one is just what's been posted online, and that's a tremendous shot. Look at the ab development. Like the quads in hard. Like you said, on that side chest, if he's, or on that side try, if he's hitting his glute really hard, that would have been a great shot. Let's see his back. Like his glutes are crazy hard there, right? So everything's in lower. Like he's probably not hitting that pose the way that he would want to. I think he's just
needs to bring those legs in together,
crunching down a little bit hard on it. Yeah, but if he was able to open up and like rotate back, I think that would. This guy's good. I've never seen this guy before, but he's definitely got a good physique as well. One of the better ones that we've been through, I believe.
Yeah. So that is Josue Cortez Vargas. No Instagram guys, but we got NPC News Online to cover us with the photos. So what we'll go ahead and do now is Blake and I are going to give our top 5 picks. So what we'll do is we'll alternate. So I've got our picks pulled up here, and I'll type these in just so we can keep track of them. Got the lineup here on the left, and we'll go one by one from 5 to 1. Blake, do you want to start out, or you want me to?
You start us off here.
All right, sounds good, man.
Yeah.
All right, so in 5th place, I'm going to go with Tyler Okowinski out of Canada. And he's a guy, I love his shape, man. I think his width and his lats is just next level. I think because he's probably going to be harder, and I think he's going to be fuller, nail that peak this time around, especially compared to New York. I see him top 5 here. I really, really like his physique. So that's my 5th place finisher.
So now I go 5. Is that how this works?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with Mo Burgess for the 5 spot. I like him the best out of the the Masters guys. I think he brings like a really still a fresh look and a lot of muscularity. I think if somebody kind of comes off, he could jump up a little bit more just based on like his development. And I'm certain he'll nail it too. So I like him there.
All right. So Mo Burgess. My 4th place pick is going to be Carl Gautier. I really think that Carl's physique, for having only been pro for a year, is just very ready for top 5. Detail in his quads is incredible, lots of width, and like Blake said, a very confident poser. He's a guy who I think, he could be as high as 2 or 3 even. So I like Carl in 4th place.
Yeah. What was the name of the last guy that we were looking at that won it in the Mexico show?
Yeah, so that's Josue Cortez Vargas. I know it's a lot of names. So this second,
I like him for my 4 pick.
All right. So Blake's got Josue in there.
That's my sleeper pick.
All right. Yeah. That condition is just so hard to replicate, man.
Yeah. He's got everything, right? So it'd be interesting to see.
My 3rd place pick is going to be Greg Dawson in his pro debut. I really like Greg's physique. Great arms, delts, quads, great abdominals as well. If he can control those on stage, it's going to be great. I just really think he's well put together in this lineup. I think he'll stand out pretty well. Probably one of the fuller guys in this lineup too.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Muscle bellies as well. So I got Greg Dawson in 3rd.
For my 3, give me Carl in that spot. I like him to be top 3 for his pro debut. Like I said, I think he's just going to get by with really polished posing and some pieces that a lot of people are going to have a hard time standing beside, which is just overall width.
So Carl in 3rd for Blake. My 2nd place pick might take people by surprise, but here we go. I got Ali Emre out of Turkey.
All right, okay.
I think his shape is just second to the guy who I have in 1st. Just fantastic shape. He's the most veteran guy in this lineup. He's been a pro for like 20 years. Just took 7th in a really deep lineup in Ireland. Beat a lot of guys who would probably place top 5 in this lineup if they jumped in. So I like Ali in 2nd place.
I like that. I like that pick. I don't know him well enough. Haven't had a good enough chance to really look him over. But in this spot, number 2, I like Greg here. I think kind of what you alluded to in your 3 spot, he's going to be the fullest guy on stage, roundest, kind of muscle bellies. And he sort of, for me, emulates that compact, Breon look. Like when I saw him win his pro card, it was like he was miles ahead. Like it wasn't close. He dominated, and that's why I thought he should have done the pro show the day after. I think he would have been in this position, last year. So Greg is my number 2 pick. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So Greg Dawson, Blake's second pick. And my winner and Olympia qualifier is going to be Sam Pekin. I think he's the heavy favorite for a good reason. Best shape in the lineup, most detailed, and I think he's also probably the most proven on a pro stage out of everybody here. And I think he'll win this show, go to his very first Olympia. So I got Sam Pekin winning the show.
Yeah, I also have Sam winning the show. I'm most interested in seeing like if he does pull this off, if he's going to continue trying to knock out a few shows, or if he's just going to try and focus on as much growing as he can into the Olympia. Because like I said before, the sky is the absolute limit for Sam. His structure is just, I don't even have anybody to sort of like compare him to, because it looks so like almost like freakish from the front, with that like it's a deep vacuum with a crazy small waist. You just don't see that. So I'm really excited for Sam and Julian on Sunday. I think it's a really good pairing, and I think they're going to get it done based on not only shape, but also I think he'll be the hardest guy at the show too.
You heard it here, guys. Blake and I both have Sam Pekin punching his ticket to the O, winning his first pro show. So that is going to do it for the preview today, guys. Before we get out of here, make sure you give me a follow on Instagram here at CPC Bodybuilding. But more importantly, make sure you give Blake a follow. So if you're looking for Blake, here is his Instagram, B Course Fit. Make sure you support him. He's got his codes there. Blake, who are you working with in terms of sponsors right now?
HD is primary sponsor. Those guys are local to me and like families. So code B Course for HD. If you guys need it, awesome apparel and supplements, obviously. And just want to give you a quick shout out, Brent, because I know you've been grinding at this for just a little while now, but it's like every week I just see more and more honesty coming from your page, and just a really kind of refreshing outlook for the classic division. I think it's neat that you've kind of chosen this specifically to key in on. When I was competing last year, it was something that I looked forward to seeing when you were putting videos out leading into the show. So thank you for doing what you do. If you guys don't follow Brant, definitely follow CPC on Instagram. It's definitely worth your while.
Really appreciate it, man. Thank you again for joining. And make sure you guys tune into the Toronto Pro. You're not going to want to miss it, guys. I'll leave that in the description if you want to catch the live stream. But that's going to do it. Blake and I are signing out. Thanks for watching CPC Bodybuilding, guys. Take care.
Cheers, guys.